Hello again, welcome back everyone. Liquorhound here with you. Thank you for joining me once again for another video, but not a spirit review video this time. Today we're going to be taking a look at glassware and how different shapes of glasses affect the exact same spirit differently. Now, the reason I kind of decided to do this video was because I was having this exact discussion with a good friend of mine who happens to be really big into tequila and mezcal. And he's been sourcing glassware from all over the world, okay? And he continues to do this because he's really into this exact concept. And so I told him, you know what, I'll do a video on this. We'll showcase 7 glasses may or so initially, which we have 7. And then maybe down the road I'll do another video, a part 2 to this, where we do 7 other glasses. And we just kind of do this, and probably doing the same spirit so we don't get fluctuation. But the reason I chose the Reposado Clase Azul was A, because of course he's a big tequila guy, but so a little bit in honor of him. But B, because it's a very aromatic tequila. Clase Azul does a finishing of course, ex-bourbon barrel maturation, but then they also do finishing of cognac and sherry casks. And it's aged for a total of 8 months. So it's a pretty complex little tequila. Also widely available, so pretty much anyone can get it. Retail pricing on it's about $85, somewhere in there, maybe a little above that, but hopefully you can find it around $85. Okay, now the glassware. The Hinkle glass down on this end. Hinkle glass, very big bowl, wide mouth with a nice point in the center of it. And that's going to use a nice aeration method where you pour the spirit directly on that point, kind of does that little quality initially right away. Big bowl, so when you swirl it, it's going to coat those walls really nicely, present aromatically very big initially. Okay, now we're going to see how that holds. The price point on the Hinkle. Hinkle glass is $10 to $15. I believe it's produced in China. Okay. Now, I will say the Hinkle glass, I do notice there are some fluctuations in the productivity. I don't know if they have problems with where they're getting it made or what's happening, but sometimes you can find them, sometimes you can't, but we'll see how it goes. Norlan Glass. The Norlan Glass, also made in China. Now, Norlan became famous because they did a really big Kickstarter program to help fund this glass. And I know I was involved in it because I wanted to make sure I got, a set of them to see how it presented for y'all. Now, as far as the shape of the glass, the Norlan glass is probably the most innovative in that it's double-walled. So the outside wall kind of just holds like a traditional rocks glass. The inner wall more of a traditional spirit, almost a tulip shape. At the bottom is their most unique feature, is that it has ridges pressed into that tulip-shaped inner bowl, so that when you swirl the spirit in it, kind of agitates it a little more and kind of releases aromatically. At least that's the concept. All right. Price point on it, about $24 a glass. The most expensive glass here is the Norlan. And they're sold in sets of 2. So that's the other issue with the Norlan. But beyond that, we're going to go to Old Faithful, Glencairn. Now, the Glencairn glass isn't made at one particular glass company. A lot of times it's made at where this one is made, Stolzle out of Germany. But the retail price on the Glencairn, about $10. Maybe a little less if you can get them in bulk or a good deal on them. I've seen them as low as maybe $6. All right, next up, like I said, the Stolzle. This is known as their nosing glass. It is pretty new. It is mostly in the European market right now, but it will be probably making its way over here soon. Retail price on it, €6, so about $10, not too bad. Really nice shape. I do like the way it holds in the hand. I like the little flare on the mouth. It's a really nice glass. Okay, next up. Now Stolzle also will make a lot of Copitas. So this Copita probably was made there as well. Very traditional shape. I know Richard Patterson really likes to use this glass in all his nosing and stuff like that. Of course, he also talks a lot about how you have to bring the spirit way down in proof. So this works well at low ABV. Okay, when you get high ABV, it's too narrow of a mouth. It's going to just focus all that intensity of that ethanol right into your nose, and it will burn you if you're not careful with high ABV spirits. All right. Retail price, I think I mentioned it, but $10. All right. Next up, the Luigi Bormioli. Now, the Luigi Bormioli is the one that I use a lot of times in my videos for higher proof spirits. I like the bulb shape. It's a little wider at the bulb, and that helps air it out a little bit. And then a nice mouth funnel kind of to help me, almost like the Glencairn, where it kind of funnels it to the mouth, but it's wide enough up top to where it doesn't burn you as much as, let's say, a Copita with a very narrow mouth. All right. Retail pricing on it is actually the lowest of all of them at about $6 and change a glass. I get them on Amazon. They're like $37 for a set of 6. Very inexpensive. Made in Italy. Now, I will say I have noticed every now and then, blue moon, you will find a glass that kind of wobbles onto the table. But, you know, $6 a glass, what are you going to do? And if it's only 1 out of 6, it's not too bad. All right. Next up, the Riedel glass. Now, this happens to be the Riedel Ouverture, which was made specifically for tequila. So when you go on their website, you will see under the Overture series and also under the Bar series, they have a tequila glass, which is this one. Retail pricing on it's about $10 to $15, depending on where you're shopping. Made in Austria. So that's the story on the Riedel. Now, I know a lot of distilleries like Casa Dragones and a few others really like this shape as well. So, you know, it is known as being the connoisseur's glass for tequila. All right. But we're going to see how the others present tequila. Do they do it better? Do they do it as good? Who knows? We'll see. All right, so we'll start way down here onto the Hinkle glass. Of course, the spirit has been sitting in here for about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. And remember, if you're not a tequila person, don't worry about it. You can be a rum person, a bourbon, single malt person, doesn't matter. It's going to represent similarly, okay? All right, so we coat the glass, dive in. It's pretty nice. It's going to release all that agave is coming out. A little bit of that vegetalness that you get on the Plata version of this I can pick up in here. Nice caramel. A little bit of that baked agave sugar as well. Cinnamon, a little clove. You have to be careful with this glass. It's such a wide mouth that I can actually end up putting my mouth and nose in here. And of course, I like to breathe in through my mouth and nose when I'm nosing, so you don't want to do that because it'll take it in and kind of choke you up a little bit. But the red rope licorice, the red fruits, some dried fruits as well. You kind of get it all in this glass. Not too much ethanol. It kind of helps dissipate that pretty well. Overall, pretty enjoyable. Now, I will notice it's not super focused, so that's okay. So they kind of aromatically all tend to blend together, which works. You know, especially if you're not really big into trying to review a spirit or find all the flaws in a spirit, that really works well. The Norlan Glass, so I'm giving it the little swirl, letting the little ridges do their thing. Okay, here we go. You do have to get deeper into this glass. I'm actually having to put almost my top lip into the glass, getting my nose deeper in to get the aromatics. I do get the fresh agave. I am picking up one note that one wasn't picking up. And that was a little bit of the sour ferment. I also find that on the Plata as well. The Plata is very vegetal. It's kind of a really nice fresh agave driven. And that little bit of that sour ferment can be picked up in it. And I'm going to go back here and see if I... Nope. This one really doesn't show that very much. It shows the agave, but the Norlan Glass, I do get that. Now, unfortunately for the Norlan, it also, I'm losing a lot of aromatics. I'm losing the fruits and a lot of that really big fresh agave that I was finding in here. I'm not getting here, and I'm giving it the agitation and the big swirl. But it's really, I don't know what's happening. It's kind of strange how it doesn't showcase everything. It only showcases a few things. So I get a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit of that agave, fresh agave, a little bit of the caramel. It kind of comes off as muted. Everything seems to be muted at low ABV. Of course, this is 80 proof, all right? I do know for a fact that the Norlan Glass works very well for big cast strength whiskeys or Isla whiskeys. If they're higher ABV, again, I like higher ABV Islas in that glass because it helps dissipate very fast. And just as it's doing that greatness on those high ABV stuff, it kind of works as a negative on low ABV. I think it dissipates it so much that it just disappears almost. All right. Now, Glencairn, oh, faithful. Great balance. I love this glass. I just like it because you get everything. You get a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. You can pick up those subtle nuances, coat the bowl really nicely. But I'm getting all that fresh agave. I even can focus and get a little bit of that sour tone as well. The red fruits, the cinnamon, that clove is in there. A little ethanol coming through, but again, it does funnel that. Of course, I am getting deep into this glass as well. Vanilla. Picking up a little vanilla as well, which I was not getting in the previous two. Okay. Let me go ahead and reset with a little coffee bean here for just a second. Okay. Stolzle, the Nosing Glass. I just really like how this feels in the hand. It's a really nice shape. Okay. All right. Wow, that's almost a direct cross. That's a direct cross almost between the Glencairn and the Hinkle glass. The Hinkle releases very, very broadly and very fast. The Glencairn kind of holds everything in, releases just about the right amount that I like. But this one is almost a combination, so it releases very broadly, but also somewhat focused. You know, you do get to be able to pinpoint a few notes in here. The fruits are a little more vibrant than I think even in the Hinkle. Yes, the Hinkle is definitely more agave driven. It's hard to find the fruits. They're in there, but they just so meld. Everything's kind of melding. The one thing that I really pick up in the Hinkle glass is the freshness of the agave. Maybe a little floralness coming through as well. The Norlan, gosh, everything's almost gone. It's not good. Don't do low ABV tequila in that glass, that's for sure. Glencairn, nice, still holding. And the Stolzle Nosing Glass. Yes, that's very, very nice. I think you can pick up everything that you can almost pick up, everything that the Glencairn has, but it's just a little easier on the nose. The ethanol release is a little faster. Now the Copita, give it a nice little swirl. Oh, that's nice. It's picking up the one thing. Okay, so this is so focused because it is a tulip shape, so it allows it to kind of get in there, but it's a narrow mouth, so it kind of holds it in a little better than some of the others. So you are going to get a little more ethanol hit. This almost smells exactly like when I first poured it into, let's say, a Glencairn or the Hinkle glass. When you first pour it in and you smell it, this is what you're smelling. By now, the Hinkle is kind of dissipated. The Norlan definitely is dissipated. This one, it's still holding just as if it was just poured in there. I get all the notes, even a little bit of a butteriness as well. But again, you have to fight off because I think the cinnamon is increased. So the cinnamon and the ethanol prickliness of that, the spice, is a little more bright here. So that's can be a negative depending on what you're looking for. All right, the Luigi Bormioli. That's a nice glass. That one represents well. It's almost as good as, wow. I would say this one's almost a split between these two. So now if we're refining a little tighter, because this one's kind of these two, if you put these two together, I think you get this one. I don't think it's quite as focused as the Glencairn. Let me go back. I don't know. Well, yeah. Yeah, because the Glencairn gives you a little more of that ethanol still onto the nose. This one a little less in that aspect. But I can still get all the fruits, all the fresh agave, the cinnamon, that clove. That's still coming through very nicely. Almost like the dried fruits you can even pick up in that glass. All right, so now we're going to reset that nose one more time because this is the Riedel Ouverture. Nice. Well, it is a very elegant, shaped glass. All right. Okay. It's not bad. It's just a little more singular. I will say that. So I get the butteriness, I get the fresh and baked agave here, the cinnamon, those red fruits, a little bit of that ethanol, but I think it's a little more geared towards the delicate notes. So everything is there, but it's a little lighter. All right, so that's the only drawback here. But again, that may not be a drawback for what you're wanting. If you just want your tequila or your spirit to pour into a glass, swirl it around, give it a nice, you know, delicate feel, light, elegant, that may be the glass to go with. If you're looking for something just to, just to pour into the glass and swirl it around, give it a good, you know, like the Hinkle here. Yeah, that's really nice. That's good fresh agave. And then sip on it. That's great. That works. Works really well. It doesn't let you focus, so you're not going to sit there and be picking up every nuance on the nose on the Hinkle glass. You'll get a lot of them, but they're more balanced, I would say, in the Hinkle glass. The Norlan glass, like I said, I think you lose. It's almost like the Riedel Ouverture in that it's very delicate, so it's only showing you the muted, delicate notes. But you've lost a lot of it. You've lost what these are showing me. It's that this has lost a lot of notes. I do like the way it sips from because it's a little thicker in the way it feels on the glass because you have those two glasses kind of essentially coming together at the top, at the mouth, but they're also pretty seamless. So I'm not really feeling any ridges. That's really nice. Yeah, feels good. Glencairn. Of course, this thing's almost molded into my hand, but yeah, it's pretty everyday glass. And let's taste this one, see how it feels on the lips. You have to go a little further back on the draw on that one just because you have to get past that bowl. But other than that, it feels good. I think it presents really well. Wow. Yeah. It's a good tequila, but man, I think that works. That's a good middle of the road glass right there. So is this one. All right, the Copita. Feels good. Oh, still a little spicy, still a little ethanol, still pouring out of that glass. So when I took it in, it was a little sharper than some of the others because I think that spirit still just hasn't relaxed entirely as it has in some of those. But if you're wanting to focus, like Richard Paz and Master Blender, you know, if you're wanting to really focus, that may be the glass to use. You will see some of those negative effects, but hey, that's the price, right? All right, the Luigi Bormioli. Nice thickness, not too thick on the rim, on the edge of that glass. Yeah, that one presents very well as well. And the Riedel Ouverture, let's see. I like it. I like the way it feels. It's a good glass. I don't think you're going to get the most out of the nose on that glass, but it does feel good in the hand, good weight, and really enjoyable to sip from. So overall, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're just looking to sip on something, you're not trying to get really detailed into it, and you're not really that worried about it, Norlan Glass, Hinkle Glass, they work really well because they immediately balance the aromatics. Glencairn, good balance of that and focus. This Stolzle Nosing Glass, again, does pretty much those three combined. The Copita, very sharp and narrow, focused. The Luigi Bormioli, again, kind of similar over here, where it's a good balance of the group over here. And of course, the Riedel Ouverture Tequila Glass. Just a nice glass. It's a little more on the delicate side of things. Does allow to air out pretty nicely, but it maintains as well. So it's a good all-around glass as well. Me personally, I still like probably these three the most out of this lineup just because it helps balance and stay focused at the same time. But that's just my personal preference. You're going to have your own. I just hope this video was a little educational in showing what these different type glasses will do. And again, if you like it, please let me know in the comments because I hopefully will be doing a part 2 as well. I know my buddy is trying to source crystal jarrito. So that's pretty unique, and that's a very traditional tequila mezcal type glass. And so we'll hopefully have that for the next one. But anyway, thank you for watching. Everybody have a great evening, and cheers.